everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am here with a new project tutorial, and of course there is a kit available. This is my Say Cheese Classic Pooh Birthday Folio. So this one uses the 6x8 Say Cheese Classic Birthday paper pad. So this little guy right here. I did use the entire thing on this project. And I designed it specifically for the 6x8 paper pad. So in the kit you will get your cardstock, your chipboard, your ribbon, the 6x8 paper pad, the foam stickers, the page pieces, and the number bits, which I did not put my number bits on my kit because I would wait and do that once pictures are added and I can more personalize it. But the entire pack of the number bits is included. So let's take a look. So on the cover here I've got one of the title pages from the 6x8 pad, and I left it mostly as is because it was super cute just on its own. I just added the foam stickers on there. I've used the birthday sentiment from the page pieces here. Back is just one of the pattern papers, which looks like I actually put it on upside down, maybe? I don't know, maybe it's not. I can't tell. It's been a long day, so that's entirely possible. Okay, when you open this up, on the left inside cover we've got a nice big spot for a picture there, and there as well, and there. And I've used the foam stickers. Oh, you're also getting the sticker sheet for the 12x12 sticker sheet for the paper collection as well. I knew there was another piece there that I was missing. So that's where this border comes from. This flips up. We've got just another nice large photo spot there. Another spot here. Inside on the back of that flap we do have a couple of pockets. And then we have a 4x6 pull down waterfall. Okay. That I did cut and mat to kind of keep that continuity of the balloon papers going down there. That all closes up. In the middle we have two very easy pages. So on the front here we've got a shallow pocket. We've got 3x4 cut aparts on a little booklet. We've got a flap, and I did not mat the back side of the flap because chances are you're going to put pictures there anyway, so it's not really necessary. I've got one of the foam stickers here. On the inside we've got belly bands decorated with the foam stickers, and then an insert that is 6x12, so you could get 6 4x6 pictures on here. This one I matted like that. I did not mat the back side. This one, this is the back side of the paper that is on the front cover, and it's got that cute little kind of tone-on-tone birthday scene, which I absolutely love. So that's what I used here, along with Color Vibe cardstock that is also part of the kit. And then that front page repeats here with the flap and the little 3x4 booklet and the foam sticker. And on the back inside cover we've got the ribbon, which again is included with your kit. This opens up. We've got foam stickers. We've got this little guy from the page pieces and the page pieces there. Got another big spot here. And then here we have a push waterfall that I used again, and in the tutorial I show you exactly how to do this to get that whole title page to look mostly like one piece on your waterfall, so that it is there and you can still add your pictures, but you'll still have that fun element. So that is the project. Kit is in the shop listed right now. It is $60, and really for the project you're getting out of this, it is a really killer value. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our base. You are going to cut from your chipboard two pieces that are 6x8 and one that is 8x2. You're going to cover the backs with tape, and then we are going to go ahead and add our chipboard. So I've got my Clearview spacer, my top spacer, and my spine spacer. If you don't have the spacers, you want 1 inch at the top, 1.5 on the sides. So our cardstock for this, for a 2-inch spine, is 2 by 8 spine is going to be 10 by 5. Okay, swap that one for my cover spacer. So for the cover pieces, you need an inch on the top, an inch on the side, well, an inch all the way around. So for a 6 by 8 cover, your cardstock is going to be 8 by 10. So we'll go ahead and put that one down. And then same thing with the other cover. And of course, these spacers are available on my website, scrappingundertheinfluence.com. Okay. They just make the whole mini album process, construction process that is, that much easier. So next up, I am going to grab 1/4-inch tape and my bone folder, and I'm going to use the chipboard to fold the cardstock around. So I'm just laying it on the table and folding it over and then burnishing down. Okay, I'm going to do that on all 3 pieces. Okay, so we're going to start with our spine. We need to miter. So you can see where your fold lines are that you burnished, okay? And you use that to line up and trim. Okay? So I'm going to miter out that way and that way. That way, and that's what we're left with, okay? So I'm going to take my 1/4-inch tape, we're going to add that over here. The light's not in the right place. Like I looked up and I'm going, that doesn't look right. That's okay. And our tape there. And then we're going to go ahead and miter our corners on our cover pieces the exact same way. Alright, so we've got all of those mitered. Next thing we're going to do on the cover pieces is go around all 4 sides with the score tape. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is grab my glue. And we'll see if it's horribly clogged because it has been sitting here for like 2 days. Which that's supposed to, you know, the whole point of the glue press is it's supposed to help like not, you know, dry out, but, or get clogged, but not always the reality. Okay, so got the backing off my tape. What we're going to do is come along the edge of this chipboard with our glue into that little middle area where the tape is not. You're going to use your bone folder and push up against the chipboard and then fold it over and burnish it down. Using the combination of the glue and the tape helps it grab immediately. I'm going to go to my opposite side and do the same thing. Okay. And again. Okay. And there is one cover piece. Do the exact same thing on this one. Again, along the chipboard in the open area, up against the chipboard, burnish it down. Using the combination of the glue and the tape. I literally just said that, didn't I? Oh, sorry. Okay. And then on the spine piece, all we're going to wrap are the 2 ends. So that's why we only added tape there, but you're going to do basically the same thing. Okay. And again. We're going to turn that over, and you're going to grab your tape one more time, and we're going to go along this outside edge on both sides. Okay. You're going to take your bone folder, and you're going to burnish along the edge of the chipboard to work that down over the edge of the chipboard. Okay, so you can see over here it's not defined. This side that I just burnished, now you can really see where that chipboard is. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and get the backing off on one side. I'm going to add my glue. And on this, you don't want to go up to the edge of the chipboard. You want to stay about 1/8 of an inch away. I'm going to lay my cover face pretty side up. Use my nail at the top as a guide because I can watch down here that I'm lined up top to bottom. And when you feel that slide off that chipboard, just go ahead and drop it down and burnish. Or push it down a little bit, just kind of get it in place. And again, using the combination of the glue and the tape keeps it from sliding on you and getting crooked. Because every once in a while I think I'm going to be all fancy and not do it that way, and then I screw up my covers every time. So, same thing on this side, using our fingernail to kind of guide it. We feel it drop off, put it down, and then carefully turn it over. And on this back side, we're going to burnish again, like so. And the last thing you need is another piece of cardstock. This is 7 7/8 by 6. You always want this reinforcement piece 1 inch wider than what you used for your spine. So our spine cardstock was 5 inches. This is 6 inches. Okay, 1/8 of an inch shorter than the overall height of the album. This one I highly recommend covering the entire back of this with tape, edge to edge, in the middles, like everywhere. Because when we go and put this down, it's going to keep it from bubbling up, okay? So I am centering this top to bottom, side to side, dropping that down, burnish that down, and then I'm going to bend up and use my bone folder and push that down into that crease. Other side, do the same thing. And once I have that, I'm going to stand it up and I'm going to pinch, because this is just going to set everything into place and give you a nice finished cover. Okay? All right, so let's move that off to the side there. And we're going to go ahead and work on our left and right cover elements, because this is kind of a hybrid album slash folio, because we do have 2 pages in the middle, but most of our elements are going to be on the 2 covers. So I have pre-scored simply so that I do them right and I don't tell you something wrong and then have to recut something. So that's how I've been checking myself that my measurements are in fact correct. First up, we need a flap that is 7 by 8 with the 7 inches at the top. You're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. Okay. You need 4 pieces that are 4 by 6 for a waterfall. We are not going to score those. This is going to be a pull down. I don't remember which way we're doing this. Once we assemble it, it will make more sense in my brain, because I can never remember. Like, I know the basics for how to do these, and then I know like the little extra, you know, like scrap piece that we need for to attach that, or like to make it function. Actually, let's use those. There's 2 different ways you attach it, and literally I can never remember which is which until I actually do it. So this part is the same regardless if it's a push waterfall or a pull waterfall. So this is 4 by 10 with the 10 inches at the top. You're going to score at 8, 8.5, 9, and 9.5. Okay. We have 2 more flaps. These are 8 by 5 3/4. So with the 8 inches at the top, you're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 inch. Okay, same on both pieces. And then we have stacked pockets. So our first piece is going to be 7 by 4. We're going to score at 1/2 and 6.5. Turn to the 4-inch side and score at 1/2 inch again. The top pocket on the stacked pockets is going to be 2.5 by 7. With the 7 inches at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 and 6.5. We are not going to score on the bottom because this will be more of a flat pocket. Okay. So let's go ahead and move that out of the way. We're going to start with this waterfall piece. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start from that first score line, the 8-inch score line, and we're going to fold and burnish. Okay. And as we do this, to make sure it's straight, you're going to make sure that you're lining this up side to side and burnishing from the middle out. Very much like when we make a hinge. Okay? You don't want to start and burnish at one side and pull across. You want to start in the middle and go out, out. Okay? And we're going to turn it the other direction and do it again. And then just kind of test it, make sure it kind of rolls. See, there's like a rolling motion there. That's what we want. Okay. So now I'm going to take my 4 by 6 mats. We are going to glue these onto the base. So I'm turning it to face myself, okay? Because that way I can ensure that it's going on straight and it's going all the way up to the top, okay? Push down to my next score line. And again, make sure we're lined up side to side. Okay. And our last piece. Burnish that down. You're going to set this whole thing aside, and the only other thing you need on this is, I'm not even sure how big this is because it's out of my scraps. This piece is 1 inch by what, 8? Yeah. So this is just one of my scrap pieces. I'm just going to clip these two back together if I can figure out where I put my paper clip. And kind of set these to the side because you need to mat your base before you put this down. So we're going to do that in just a minute. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and do our flaps. So our bigger flap, you're going to go ahead and miter. Okay. And same thing with the other two. You're going to miter both of these. And then on your pockets, so for the 2-inch pocket or 2.5 inch, you're going to miter. Okay, the big pocket, you are going to cut across the corner where those score lines cross. Okay, just straight across. And then miter on your top. Okay. Now, I'm going to take one of the flaps, the 5 3/4 inch flaps. Okay. I'm going to fold and burnish because I want to actually make sure my pocket's going to fit the way I want it to before I in my book, and it is not. What did I do here? Hold on. 5 3/4. Okay, I literally cut this one too big. And same thing with that one. Oh my god. Okay, so we're gonna fix them. We need to cut a 1/4 inch off. And then we will rescore that side. So they should have been 5 3/4. So the measurement I gave you is correct. I just literally looked right at these as I was scoring them. I said 7 inches, didn't I? Okay, it should be 5 3/4. I am so sorry. Okay, but it is an easy fix. So 5 3/4 by 4, 5 3/4 by 2.5. And then we'll fix that. See, this is why you double check before you actually start gluing things down on stuff like this, because you don't want to mess that up. That's okay. So now, oh, look at that, it fits. Yeah. It's just, you know. Okay. So this one is going to go on here. I'm going to put this at the bottom. And burnish that down. And then our little one that goes on top, we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish. And it looked weird for some reason. I'm going to put glue on my ends and then a thin line across the bottom. Okay? There you go. I know it's hard to see when it's on the white paper. I apologize. Okay, and that one's going to go down on there. Okay, so we can go ahead and get those folded and burnished. We're going to put this one that has the pocket is going to go on the bottom. So we're just going to center this because it's not the full 6 inches wide, it is only 5 3/4. The other one's going to go up here on the top. I'm going to fold that over so that I can get them lined up exactly across from each other. Okay, open that back up, and we'll go ahead and fold and burnish our tabs for this. That's going to go down all the way to that outside edge. Okay, so these will fold in, this will fold in. The waterfall will go underneath at the end. Okay, on the opposite side, we are doing another one of those waterfalls. So your base for this one is going to be 12 by 6. Now, we're going to go ahead and score it. We are not going to build it yet because we want to get our other flaps in here first before we put, so we can adjust this if we need to, okay? So we're going to start with it 6 by 12. You are going to score it 8 inch, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, okay? You need, how many do I have here? I think 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4 by 6 mats. Okay, I'm going to set all that to the side. We have a flap that is 6 by 8. We are going to score this at 1/2 and 1 inch. And then we have one that is 4 by 8 that we are going to score at 1/2 and 1 inch. Go ahead and miter both of these. We're going to fold and burnish. And fold over our gusset and burnish. Same thing on the other piece. Now, the smaller is going to go to the inside, okay? down, go to the other side, and we're going to attach our flap on the other side. And you can corner round literally all of these. I just haven't done it yet. Okay. Now, what you want to do is grab your base. You're going to lay this in here and make sure that this all closes up without making the base piece bubble up. Okay, so to test that, you see how that's bubbling right there? Okay, see that? Which means we need to take a little bit off of this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just take 1/8 of an inch off of this. That will be more than enough, and then you'll do the same off of your mats. So it'll end up being 5 7/8 as opposed to 6, which is still fine because a lot of times you need to trim something off of your papers anyway. And like an edge like this is always a good one to do that with. Once you've trimmed all of those back down, then we can go ahead and assemble this. Okay. All right. So assembly on this is going to be just like we did the other base piece. We are going to fold over, make sure we're lined up side to side, and burnish from the middle out. Go to our next one. Make sure we're lined up right, burnish from the middle out. And again, okay? Then I'm going to go back and do it the other direction to make sure that this is going to move easily. And because, you know, we're using good cardstock, you can do this and not worry about that it's going to tear or, you know, anything like that. Okay. All right, so we're going to do this the same way. We're going to start at the bottom. You're going to line this up on that top edge. Make sure we're good side to side. And then go down to our next one. And repeat. Okay. I debated about doing both of the waterfalls in this the same size, but ultimately this works. You're going to be able to get a lot of pictures in a very simple project. last one. All right, so this one, I'm going to take my other 1-inch scrap. This one's actually 1 by 12, and just clip those together. Okay, center page elements for this. You need a piece that is 12 by 7 3/4. Okay. With the 12 at the top, you're going to score it 5 3/4 and 6 1/4. Okay. You're going to have 2 belly bands. These are 2 by 8 3/4. You're going to score it 1/2 inch and 8 1/4 on both. Okay. You are going to have 2 short pockets. These are 6 3/4 by 2 1/2. You're going to score at 1/2 and 6 1/4. Turn to the 2 1/2 inch side and score at 1/2 inch. And you're going to do that on both of these. So 1/2 inch, 6 1/4. Turn to the 2 1/2 inch side, score at 1/2 inch. Okay. Then we have 2 flaps. These are both 4 by 6. With the 6 inches at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay. And then inserts. So we've got 2 that are 4 1/8 by 6 1/4. You're going to score both of these at 3 1/8. Okay. So there's 2 of those. And then you're going to have 2 inserts that are 6 by 12. With the 12 inches at the top, you are going to score at 4 inches and 8 inches on both of those. Okay, so we're going to start with our inserts just because they're on top. With our 2 big ones, we're going to do an accordion fold. Okay, there's one, so you're going to fold it in. Burnish it down, turn it over, fold down, and again. Okay, so then you've got an accordion or a Z-fold insert. Your 2 6 1/4 by 4 1/8, you're just going to fold in half. Okay, now our 2 flaps. We're going to miter. Our pockets, we're going to miter those. So again, on the pockets, you're going across the bottom where the score lines cross, and then mitering at the top. And then the belly bands, you're going to miter on each end. And then your page base, we're going to fold both score lines. Alright, so the belly bands are going to go on the inside. So we can go ahead and get those in. So they're just going to face each other in the middle. So you're just going to center them on the page. And this is where our accordion inserts are going to go. open that up flat, going the other direction, and go ahead and put our pockets in. So we're just going to fold and burnish. Okay, that's going to go here. And on the opposite side. Those down, turn it the other direction, and then we'll go ahead and attach our flaps. And again, you're just going to center those at the top of the page. So, the 3x4s are going to go in here and in here to hold those flaps down. Your 4x6 accordion is going to go back here on the belly bands, okay? So again, before we put that in, we do need to mat here. So let me figure out the matting and I will be right back. Okay, waterfall. So we've got our 1 inch by 12 inch scrap, and we are going to come on to here, and we want it to, we're going to score this at 3 inches and at 9 inches because we need to fold this around and attach it to our base, okay? So of course that means that it's not going to totally touch in the middle there, okay? So I've got another piece that is 5 7/8 by 1 that we're going to put on here on top, just to close that off and make sure that it's attached around our base, okay? And I totally forgot to tell you to put your ribbon on here for your closure, so I did kind of lift up underneath my flap there to get it down on this side, and then I added a piece of the cornflower Color Vibe cardstock, okay? So this is going to go in here, and truly we didn't need to mat this one. The other one does need it. This one really you can get away without doing it because put this on here and out of the way, because we're going to glue at the top and the bottom on the base, and then this just pulls up and down. So really, I didn't need to mat this, and completely space that off until after I had done so, but it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on the bottom. I'm going to put glue on the top. And we are just going to put this down. It will be centered exactly onto my unnecessarily matted piece. And that's fine. We're going to burnish that down, and I'm going to slide this down here, about an inch up from the bottom, and then that's going to get glued to the back of this flap, okay? So I'm going to put glue on top of my little mechanism. Fold this down and over and burnish it down. Okay, so then this one will push up like so. So I'm going to close that one back off and tie this back shut. On this side, the other one is going to sit in here top to bottom. Just want to make sure. I do need to trim just a tiny bit off of the bottom of this one, and that's fine. So I took not quite 1/8 of an inch off the bottom of that. And this one is going to go like so. And then that needs trim too. I knew there was something else. Okay. So this one, I'm going to open this up, and you're going to go about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom, okay? And we are going to add glue across there. And I would probably do that with this piece sitting in here so that you can make sure it's centered, because mine is not centered as best it could be. Okay, then we're going to come in here and close that off, and we're going to put glue on these ends. The ends only, okay? Up and glue that down. So now that will pull. Okay? Okay. So the only other thing I want to do, oh, just kidding, we gotta put this in. All right, so this page assembly, you are going to center this top to bottom, side to side. You are going to have about 5/8 of an inch gap on either side. Okay, so I'm just putting glue on that center hinge piece. I think how best to do this to get this lined up the way I want. So it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch from the top and bottom. And then just center it up. Side to side. If you want to mark, make some little tick marks where that needs to line up, that's fine. And then I've got a piece of that corn flour that needs to be trimmed just a bit. And I'm going to put that down this center, like so. Okay, so this is 3/8 of an inch by 7 5/8. Okay, now back in here. The reason this one is bigger is because I wanted to be able to take this page out of the 6x8 pad and be able to trim this and mat this so that it continues all the way down. So we are going to start by taking 1/8 of an inch off of each side. I think. Yes. Okay. All right. And then I am going to take 1/8 off of the top as well. Okay. So mats are 4x6. So this first one is going to be 3 7/8. Now let's go ahead and glue that one down. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to go 1/2 inch. Half an 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 inch. And 1/2 inch. That left us with what? Not quite 1/2 inch. So I don't know that we actually needed to take the 1/8 of an inch off the top of this. I think it probably would have been fine without doing that. But then we've got that whole image where we're going to be able to see it, but it's also interactive. So I am going to put this at the very bottom of that flap. I'm not going to leave it, you know, up 1/16 of an inch. I am going to go right to the bottom to ensure that we can see the whole thing. Okay. And I am trying to line this up with the edge of the piece, like the end of the piece before it. Okay. Oops, don't do that. Okay. Okay. So you see how this is flowing down the page. Okay, so there we go. Our piece for the very, very bottom. I am going to do that little bit of a gap, not much. Okay, there we go. So that one is all done. Okay, so at this point, go ahead and mat and decorate the rest of your book. I don't think I have anything else that I'm doing on this one that's, you know, different like that. That one, I think you could do something similar with just one of the patterns, like the balloons, where the balloons will just cascade all the way down. In fact, that's probably what I'll end up doing on this page. And then on my cover, it's going to be very straightforward. We've got, whoops, I want two of those pieces. I want that piece. That's what's going to go on the cover of the book. Like so. But you do have your ribbon that you need to attach out here before you put that down. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, I'm just going to center this up close to center as I can get. I'm going to, and you'll have extra of this. I leave it long simply because I do not do well tying bows. And clearly Gus wants something, so we're going to have to figure that out here in just a second. Okay. And then trim that. And you've got your piece for your cover that's going to go like that, just because it's such a cute image. I don't really need to do anything else to it. You've also, of course, got your stickers. You've got your foam stickers, and you've got your page pieces and your numbers, so you can add whatever you would like from this to, so like I could add that little puffy Let's Party balloon up there. I could add, you know, there's several little balloons with sentiments on here that you could add. And then of course there's all kinds of things on here. So, but again, that's entirely up to you. So I would just, you know, end up tying this off. And it gives you a nice big fluffy bow. And then you can trim your ends. So yeah, that's about it. I don't think there's anything else out of the ordinary that I did in this one. So go ahead and mat and decorate. If you have purchased the kit, you will have the link to the detailed project pictures if you do want to mat and decorate this exactly like I end up doing it. And of course, you know, the walkthrough at the beginning, you will have seen how the finished book came out. So as always, thank you for watching and supporting my shop, and I'll see you soon for another project.